What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Attack on Cowboys. It is, in fact, game day. And with that, we're going to jump into some last-minute news and updates that I want to discuss with you guys ahead of our Week 3 matchup with the Chicago Bears. Let's get right into it and be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content on the reg.
Shut your up.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and jump right into it with some good news. We're going to start this one off with some good news because we have some pretty negative stuff to discuss here. Not only are the Chicago Bears going to be missing one of their star players on the defensive side of the ball, which is something they honestly could not afford to happen with the way their defenses have performed thus far this season, and now they're probably going to be playing against the best quarterback they've played so far this year, right? But the Chicago Bears are placing star cornerback Jalen Johnson on injured reserve because he has a groin injury. He's out indefinitely, which obviously means he's going to miss his Week 3 tilt with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, in addition to this news, and that's really big news because Jalen Johnson absolutely was going to be the primary defender on a CeeDee Lamb. If it wasn't CeeDee, he was going to be on George Pickens. So the Cowboys essentially just got a huge boost against that Bears defense because they were already struggling at corner. Jalen Johnson was probably one of the lone bright spots, for real, in that cornerback room. Now, they have a decent secondary with guys like Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon, that type of thing. But they absolutely are going to be missing someone like a Jalen Johnson, who's really been their only decent cornerback so far this year. And that's not the only guy they're going to be missing, apparently. They're missing Jalen Johnson. They're missing Jalen Jones, another defensive back that they've ruled out already. They're missing Kyler Gordon, another defensive back, a pretty damn good player at that, is going to be out. TJ Edwards, he's going to be one of their starting linebackers. He's going to be out. And they're going to be missing an offensive lineman, Kieran Amagadaji. I don't know how to say his name. But they are literally missing 5 contributing players on the Chicago Bears. Multiple starters are going to be out this game. So off rip, the Cowboys absolutely have the advantage as pertains to health. The only guy that we're 100% going to be missing in this game is going to be Deron Bland. Trevon Diggs is interesting because he was ruled questionable, even though this injury report came out 2 days ago, and it says he was a full participation in practice on Friday. He was actually ruled as questionable yesterday, being Saturday, due to a knee injury. So, Trevon Diggs was added to the injury report, listed as questionable due to a knee. Y'all already know where I'm about to go with this. I hate to say this. I hate to be that guy. But I told y'all black asses and white asses so. I told y'all so, man. Trevon Diggs is not going to ever be the same again. I hate to say that. I would love to support our Cowboys and just wish nothing but buttercups and rainbows for all these guys and hope that everything happens perfectly in the perfect world, but that is not the case. Those of y'all that were throwing a parade and taking laps, running around the front office, you owe Trevon Diggs an apology. You owe Trevon Diggs an apology. Cap. They don't owe Trevon Diggs nothing. If anything, they may end up owing Trevon Diggs an early eulogy to his career, because this right here is scary, whether it's the same knee that he recently just had issues with or it's the other knee, and that's coming from an issue of compensation, because if he's compensating to the point where he hurt the other knee now, that means that the other one must not feel exactly right. Regardless, this is exactly why I told y'all, pump the brakes on the trying to get people to apologize to Trevon and all this crazy stuff just because he started the season, because he absolutely had all the motivation in the world to start the season. It wasn't just the front office. Oh, the front office is pressured. The front office wasn't pressuring him. The front office was the only people saying all summer that we ain't expected this. We ain't putting a timeline on Diggs, because they were going to give him some months to get right. Trevon Diggs is the one that came out in training camp talking about he's aiming for week 1. No one in the Cowboys organization ever said they wanted Trevon Diggs to play week 1. Diggs is the one that said that multiple times. He put out a whole ass YouTube video essentially about it. Diggs is the one that wanted to come back early. You know why he wanted to come back early? Didn't Trevon Diggs get fined $500,000 for not coming to the team facility and kind of doing his own thing with his rehab? He wants to prove his way right. I don't know why that's so hard for some of y'all to grasp. He wants to prove his way right. That is why he came back so early. I don't how do y'all not see this? How do y'all not get this? How do y'all not just see through all the BS, bro? Forget what these dudes are telling you, man. He knows he's missed entirely too many games. He also knows he took a lot of criticism this offseason from his front office and from fans for the way he handled his rehab and not just being there with the team. And so he knew that he had to be ready. He wanted to shock the world and have his rehab be better than expected and have people talking crazy about Britt Brown and the Cowboys training staff because they thought that Diggs somehow got an X-Man serum and he got healthy. All of a sudden, bro, I knew he was never healthy. He had a decent week 1 game because he barely played any snaps. Week 2, he actually had to cover guys. Play after play after play, he got exposed. He got exposed for his body not being right. More than anything, outside of the communication issues on the back end of the defense, his body wasn't right. And you couldn't tell any more than you could when you saw him trying to run and keep pace with Malik Neighbors. It looked like he was literally having to drag a dead leg. I know a lot of y'all probably didn't see it just with the casual eye. Though any of y'all that played sports or anything or know anything about sports science, you absolutely would have been able to notice the weird gait in Trevon Diggs' run. He's not healthy, y'all. He's not healthy. So Diggs, questionable. I'm almost expecting him not to play, and if he does, it's going to be limited snaps, which means we are going to be back there with a skeleton crew in the cornerback room because we have Zion, the human torpedo Childress, getting called up from the practice squad again. I think this is his second activation, so at some point, they're either going to have to keep him on the practice squad or keep him on the 53-man roster because I think this is now number 2 for Zion Childress. And Robert Rochelle, the other corner, I think he plays outside mostly. He got called up as well. So we're out without Deron Bland, without Trevon Diggs. We have Kalen Carson hurt. We got Josh Butler hurt. We got Savone Revel hurt. That's 5 corners that the Cowboys are missing, which means they are absolutely going to be running out there with training camp bodies and practice squad type guys, and hopefully some of these guys can surprise us. Kyer Elam is now the best corner on the field for us, and we're kind of back to the situation we were in during the training camp period, but without Deron Bland, one of our all-pros. So Kyer Elam, Zion Childress, Robert Rochelle, and Reddy Stewart are what you're going to be looking at in that cornerback room. I think they called up these 2 corners. And very interested to see how Zion Childress plays. I have a lot of hope with Zion Childress. I think he's going to be an absolute gamer. Now, they're probably going to have Reddy in on the outside again or in the slot because they actually played him in the slot this time, that last game. Even though Brian Schottenheimer said that he doesn't think Reddy Stewart, he thinks Reddy's more comfortable as an outside corner. So it's interesting they have him in the slot as much as they did. But if he's more comfortable as an outside corner, maybe Kyer and Reddy on the outside, and then you put someone like Zion Childress in there in that nickel. And I would love to see how that goes because that's pretty much the position he played during preseason. And I'm pretty sure that's probably the kind of formation they're going to go with those corners. Very excited to see what Zion Childress looks like, especially against a struggling Chicago Bears team. You didn't think we'll go through all of this. We're going to talk about how the Bears were struggling, right? So the Chicago Bears are going to be an interesting matchup for the Dallas Cowboys, mainly because how their offenses ran. On the ball, they love running outside the tackles, a lot of outside zone runs, and a lot of stuff that's just going to be going sideline to sideline, right? So with that being the case, your safety is going to have to be good tacklers. Your corners are going to have to be good tacklers. Fortunately, the corners that just came in for Trevon, I think that those actually are better tacklers than what Trevon is. So Zion Childress, Reddy Stewart, Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, they're going to be able to have to come down and help set that edge because this going to be a lot of outside runs. There are going to be a lot of runs outside the tackles, which means your secondary is going to have to be very, very game with being able to come down into the box and make a tackle. As far as your defensive ends go, guys like Sam and Dante Fowler and anybody else that's playing on that edge, they're going to have to be good at maintaining the edge as they're trying to string out plays going sideline to sideline, right? So I think as long as we don't see DeAndre Swift be able to catch the outside and go down the sideline, we'll be fine. The Bears have not had a true long run this season just yet. In week 2, it looks like he only really tried to go between the tackles maybe 2 or 3 times. In week 1, he tried to go between the tackles a lot more, but week 2, you start to see more and more trends developing, and I expect to see that same thing. Kenny Clark and Osa Odighizuwa are going to make that a no-fly zone, so the outside edges are going to have to be contained, man. That's going to be a big, big key offensively for the Bears is being able to get that outside edge, and the Cowboys have to be able to contain that. As far as the passing game goes, you're not going to be able to play 10 yards off guys. I don't recommend playing 10 yards off of guys in this particular game, mainly because of how Chicago runs their offense. Absolutely. If you look at it, Chicago, even just last week, literally threw almost 10 passes right at or behind the line of scrimmage. If you're doing that and you're giving Chicago with all those playmakers all that cushion, and you're 8-9 yards off the ball, that's playing exactly into what the Bears want to be able to do. They want to be able to get that ball out of Caleb Williams' hands quickly so he doesn't have to hold on to it and make a decision. Because when he has to start making decisions, that's when Caleb Williams is going to nut up. If you want to really put Caleb Williams in an uncomfortable spot, the middle of that line is going to have to be dominant today. Kenny Clark, Osa Odighizuwa. Them boys are going to have to put pressure on Caleb, and they're going to have to break down the inside of his pocket. If they can do that, I think they can get Caleb Williams, a very young quarterback. I think that they can get him into a spot where he starts to make very bad decisions, and he may end up having some self-inflicted wounds happen at that point. Now, beyond that, I don't think that we're going to have to deal with the same issue that we dealt with last week against Russell Wilson, even though Russell Wilson's on his way out. Our secondary got taken advantage of by a veteran quarterback who knew exactly what he was looking at as one of the best deep ball throwers, probably historically in the NFL. Russell Wilson was absolutely able to take advantage of our safeties' inexperience playing in coverage, specifically Donovan Wilson, man. He was moving around with his eyes, manipulating them, and taking advantage of the different coverages. I don't think that Caleb Williams is there yet. I don't think he's there yet in his NFL progression where he's going to be able to read those different coverages and make the plays and make the right reads at the right time every single play like Russell Wilson was doing for the most part. And I don't think he's nearly as accurate throwing the ball down the field as someone like a Russell Wilson. If he does that, he's going to put himself in a bad situation unless our corners are just absolute barbecue chicken. Then it's probably going to be okay. But I don't think this is going to be okay. I think he's going to be playing with pressure up the middle. I think that the edges may actually get home this time since there's so much emphasis on being able to rush the passer and create a quicker time, a quicker clock in the quarterback's head. I think that the defensive line is going to play really well today. I think that Matt Eberflus, being as familiar as he is with the personnel on the Bears side of the ball, on the offensive side of the ball, he will kind of know or have an idea of how to defend against certain guys. So I'm very interested to see Matt Eberflus's bounce back game. Going to be paying special attention to this one because Matt Eberflus, the microscope is on you, especially after that BS interview y'all just gave us, a press conference y'all gave us this week as well, where it doesn't sound like you're going to change a single damn thing. Now, in addition to this, something to keep in mind is Rome Odunze has caught all three of Caleb Williams' passing touchdowns in 2025. So you get into that red area, you get into the scoring zone, you want to keep an eye on Rome Odunze. It's going to be someone that Caleb Williams looks towards. That's one of his comfort zones, has been since he was a rookie last year. The Bears defense, they've used cloud coverage, meaning cover 2 and cover 6 on 34% of their opponents' dropbacks through 2 weeks, the 5th highest rate in the NFL. The way you pull people out of cover 2 or zones and stuff like that, especially cover 6 zones. When you pull people out of those zones, you're going to have to run the ball effectively. I think the Cowboys will be able to do that against the Chicago Bears defense that hasn't proven to stonewall anyone just yet. The Bears defense has aligned their outside corners in press, meaning less than 3 yards of cushion, on 40.9% of snaps through 2 weeks, the second highest rate in NFL, trailing only the Chiefs at 52.6%. Now, if the Bears do that today with those new corners and Jalen Jones and Jalen Johnson and the boys being out, they do that today, they're going to get cooked. CD and George Pickens are going to have a massive day if the Bears decide to implement that same strategy. So I don't expect to see that happen in this one, especially with the Bears using kind of being in a similar situation as us, meaning they have to use a lot of backup defensive backs. So both teams are going to be at a disadvantage as far as that goes. Now, as it pertains to that disadvantage and how it affects the game, I'm not really sure how it affects the game because there's a chance for scattered thunderstorms today at a 20% precipitation chance around the time this game is scheduled to be starting. So, very interesting there. Could it rain? If it rains, is it going to change the way the game has to be played? Whose running game and offensive line and trenches do you trust more? I'd have to say the Cowboys. So with that being the case, I think that even if the weather gets bad, the Cowboys still have the advantage. And I think the Cowboys do come away with a victory in this one. At least I hope they do, right? I really hope that they come away with a victory in this one because if not, I'm going to be sick to my stomach. But either way, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below, man. I think my score prediction for this one, Cowboys 28, Bears 17, and we go home with a win and we prepare for the Green Bay week and all the drama that's going to come along with that, right? Either way, them Cowboys. And be sure to subscribe. More Dallas Cowboys.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Woo, oh, shut up, my boy.